Six, I think. And fruits. Fruits so big is great. Yes, smaller plate. Much bigger than that. That's paper plate.
Just trash what we don't want. Trash what.
Oh, okay. Paper plate for mango, and that metal plate no need. So big, too big. Water.
뭔가 좀.
Yeah, but I think no, jarang. Because after this.
You have flower, right? Without
Nothing is there, I know you can talk about it. If you have no, then it's okay, it is not going to.
Push. Ganda.
They already have.
That also ganda.
You can
Yeah, right there.
that one.
Yeah, just
Narayanam Namaskrityo Sarvata Krishna Paramam Padam Sada Pasyanti Shubhayo Yugo Chakuratam Samapavitro Pavitava Sarvavasthana Kultiva Yasmari Kundari Kakam Savartam Padayati এইদিকে ধরে রাখো
तदखिलभेदातीतमेकस्वरूपं प्रकृतिविकृतिशून्यं नित्यमानन्दमूर्तिं विमलपरमहंसं रामकृष्णं भजामः निरुपमं अतिसूक्ष्मं निष्प्रपञ्चं निरीहं गगनसदृशमीशं सर्वभूतादिवासं त्रिगुणरहितसच्चिद्ब्रह्मरूपं वरेण्यं विमलपरमहंसं रामकृष्णं भजामः वितरितुमवतीर्णं ज्ञानभक्तिप्रशान्तिः प्रणयगलितचित्तं जीवदुःखासहिष्णुं धृतसहजसमाधिं चिन्मयं कोमलाङ्गं विमलपरमहंसं रामकृष्णं भजामः कृपामयीं प्रसन्नवदनां देवीं द्विभुजां स्थिरलोचनां आनन्दान्तिकेशान्तवक्षस्थलनिलम्बितां श्वेतवस्त्रावतारागां हेमालङ्कारभूषितां स्वक्रोडन्यस्तहस्तां च ज्ञानभक्तिप्रदायिनीं शुद्धां ज्योतिर्मयीं जीवपापसन्तापहारिणीं रामकृष्णगतप्राणां तन्नामश्रवणप्रियां तन्भावरञ्जिताकारां जगन्मातृस्वरूपिणीं जानकी राधिका रूपधारिणी सर्वमङ्गला चिन्मयीं वरदां नित्यां शारदां मोक्षदायिनीम् सुंदरम ज्ञानभक्तिप्रदातारं तन्मात्रविभूतं हयेद्देवं ज्योतिस्पन्दं लोककल्याणं कारणं
Vivekavairagya-vishuddha-chittam yoso Vivekajananda Nimagna-chittam Vivekajananda Nimagna-chittam Vivekadanaika-vinoda-shiram Vivekadanaika-vinoda-shiram Vivekavasa kamaniyakantim Vivekavasa kamaniyakantim Vivekinantam satatam namami Vivekinantam satatam namami Vande Shikendram Paraman Pavitram Vande Shikendram Paraman Pavitram Vishvasya Param Madhuram Yatindram Vishvasya Param Madhuram Yatindram Hitaya Ninam Rajaya Vivekananda Suraya Om Namah Shri Adirajaya Vivekananda Suraya Satchesga Suraya Swami Vivekananda Satchesga Suraya Swami
Shakti Ram Krishna Stitaya Sarvavidya Surupam Saradam Pranamamyaham Pratatve Sadadino Ram Krishna Samadaya Yo Dharma Sapanarto Virisham Tannamamyaham Kalini Kullakali Madina Kriyaya Brahmananda Namastubhyam Sadguru Kanayaka Yogananda Premananda Chani Marisha Pashadaha Ramakrishna Gata Prana Sarvan San Pranamamyaham.
So, where's Swami? So we start holding our Arati.
As soon as you like it, we should just put it in Russian. I can't read which is out, but
Where is Swami?
Swami is a guide.
Just change.
Keep it turned the other way around. It's complete.
Om Ring. Om Ring. You do Om Ring with them?
Yeah,
Okay.
good. I passed the papers. Did everybody get a paper?
First we do arati, no, and then Om Ring Vitama afterwards.
Here's the
Not
lyrics.
not during the arati.
Okay.
Sarkaruna
flower thing. So take one flower and each one take flower and then after it come here. Active. Leave us now. If everyone have a flower, you can pass. In this room also. Yes. There are some people in the bottom. Someone can take them.
Take it down.
Downstairs.
Downstairs where to walk in, give them and come quickly. Quickly supply and come back. Om Aim Hrim Esha Satannana Patra Pushpanjali Sangaya Savarnaya Sashaktikaya Sapashadaya Sarva Deva Devi Sarupaya Sri Rama Krishnaya Goshat Om Aim Hrim Esha Satannana Pushpa Bilva Patranjali Sarvadeva Devi Sarupinyai Shri Saradadevi Om Aim Esha Satannana Pushpa Bilva Patranjali Srimad Vivekanandaya Om Datagnegadahika Shakti Ramakrishna Sthitahiya Sarvavidya Sarupamtam Saradam Pranamaham Om Paratattve Sadalino Ramakrishna Samagaya Yodharma Sthapanarato Virishantam Namamyaham. So now it is come one by one and offer it here.
you sing one, Prana? One I will sing.
Yes, yes, yes. This is a little bit broken, unstable.
Yeah, manners.
Oh, yeah? Broken, so be careful.
It's
So-
okay. Thank you. বলো গো ঠাকুর, বলো না আমারে, আমি কালের সাথে তোমার। বলো গো ঠাকুর, বলো না আমারে, আমি কালের সাথে তোমার। ব্রহ্মদেব দীপ্ত আলো, পুরুষ সিংহকে তোমার, আনিবে একাদের সাথে তোমার। বলো গো ঠাকুর, বলো না আমারে, আনিবে একাদের সাথে তোমার। বীরেশ্বরমিত বীর সুরসেনাপতি যিনি আশ্চর্য। বীরেশ্বর অমিত বীর সুরসেনাপতি যিনি আশ্চর্য। জ্ঞানে গরিয়া তাপস প্রধান, জ্ঞানে গরিয়া তাপস প্রধান। প্রেমে ভাসমান নয়ন তার, জ্ঞানে গরিয়া তাপস প্রধান। প্রেমে ভাসমান নয়ন তার, আনিবে একারের সাথে তোমার। বলো গো ঠাকুর,
She's waiting for
জ্ঞানী শিব পদে তোমার যার কাপে ত্রিভুবন, সে কেন মাগিছে তোমার শরণ। কারে যার কাপে ত্রিভুবন, সে কেন মাগিছে তোমার শরণ। তোমারই আশিস করিয়া ধারণ, তোমারই আশিস করিয়া ধারণ। সে কি গো করিবে ধরার ভার, তোমারই আশিস করিয়া ধারণ। সে কি গো করিবে ধরার ভার, আনিবে একারের সাথে তোমার। বলো গো ঠাকুর, বলো না আমারে, আনিবে একারের সাথে তোমার। আনিবে একারের সাথে তোমার, আনিবে একারের সাথে তোমার।
Right here.
Turn it around so you're facing the people. Right here. Okay, now Swami, we're going to begin now. That's okay.
Really has something.
There's your book. Swami Okay, welcome everyone to Vivekananda House. Only 3 places in the Western world we have a kirtans, that is holy places. 2 in New York State and 1 here. So you're blessed to be here on a special day. There you see all the pictures on the wall. Ramaji with the Mead sisters. And so we're going to begin. Swami Vivekananda is going to read to us from the Reminiscences, which is our source book here, is the New Discoveries, Mary Louise Burke. That's our source book of all the pictures and all of the reminiscences of Swamiji in Southern California. That would be a book you want to get, volume 5. Volume 5. Okay, Swami, I marked out some places there. Just
Okay.
Swami Vivekananda in the West, New Discoveries, a New Gospel. The Mead household consisted of Mr. Mead, his 3 daughters, his 2 grandchildren, Mrs. Hansborough's daughter Dorothy, who was 4 years old, and Mrs. Wyckoff's son Ralph, who was 17, and the housekeeper, Miss Fairbanks. How so many people should fit comfortably into so small a house is a marvel. But even with guests, they managed with apparent ease. During Swamiji's stay, the 3 sisters, and for a time Miss McLeod, all slept in the larger of the 2 front bedrooms. Hospital system, Mrs. Hansbrough put it, giving to Swamiji, as we have seen, a room to himself. Old Mr. Mead, he was 84, slept downstairs. Ralph in the smaller front bedroom, and Miss Fairbanks and Dorothy in the loft-like attic, which one reached, Mrs. Cohn remembered, by a narrow staircase between Swamiji's room and the bathroom. Thus, in this populous house, Swamiji had privacy, and in its friendly and relaxed atmosphere, he could live as he pleased, without the ceremony, bothersome to him, of a more formal menage. Though he was very careful about his dress when he went out or met strangers, Mrs. Hansbrough said. He was casual about it at home. He remarked one Sunday morning, "Why should I be careful of my dress at home? I don't want to get married." And once, while my nephew Ralph was blacking his shoes, he said, "You know, Ralph, this fine lady business is a nuisance. All the Western fussiness about there being a proper dress for different times and places, he put down as show." Every morning around 7, Swamiji would come downstairs in a worn black and white herringbone tweed bathrobe, tied at the waist by a cord. His hair would be still tousled and damp from his bath, just as it had been in the mornings at Mrs. Blodgett's. And as one can see from photographs taken of him at this period, it was fairly long. This was not by chance, but was rather a concession to popular demand. His hair was beautifully wavy, Mrs. Hansbrough recalled. In fact, it was so beautiful, and it set off his features so well, that we would not let him cut it. Swamiji himself, she continued, did not object. He was wholly devoid of self-consciousness. Between the time Swamiji came down from his room and the start of breakfast, he would walk alone in the secluded garden behind the house, or along the almost equally secluded driveway at the side, sometimes singing or chanting, sometimes silent and absorbed. Breakfast was at 7:30, for Ralph was due at school at 8:30, and Helen, youngest of the sisters, she was in her 20s, was due as early in Los Angeles, where she was secretary at an insurance firm. Swamiji ate a good, though light, American meal, consisting mainly of fruit, 2 eggs, he liked them poached, 2 pieces of toast, and 2 cups of coffee with sugar and cream. Mrs. Hansborough once pressed upon him a 3rd cup, persisting, until at last he said, "All right, woman's business is to tempt man." But as a rule, he was moderate in eating, drinking coffee and smoking his pipe. He no longer smoked cigars as he had during his first visit to the West, and like most men in those days, seldom smoked cigarettes. Although niece Helen and Ralph had perforce to hurry away, Mrs. Hansborough, Mrs. Wyckoff, and Swamiji made breakfast a leisurely meal. They never rushed, and afterward, on those rare days when Swamiji had no morning class, he would stroll again in the garden or browse through the library. Often he would play with the children in the yard, Mrs. Hansborough recalled. Dorothy had several friends who would come, and he would hold hands with them and play Ring Around the Rosie and other games. No doubt Swamiji enjoyed these games for their own sake, as perfectly happy as his small companions. But he liked also to observe the ways of children and was interested in their early education. He used to like to talk with them, Mrs. Hansborough continued, and would ask them many questions about their activities, why they played this game or that, and so on. He was much interested in the problem of child training, and we often discussed it. He did not believe in punishment. It had never helped him, he said, and added, "I would never do anything to make a child afraid." Sometimes Swamiji would sit with the children in a shed in the back garden and look at their picture books. He particularly enjoyed Alice in Wonderland and Alice Through the Looking Glass. He said that their portrayal of the processes of the human mind was absolutely correct, and that Lewis Carroll had some kind of intuition, that his was not an ordinary mind to have written those books. Indeed, Swamiji thought Alice in Wonderland the most wonderful book for children that has been written in this 19th century. There is no such thing as law or connection in this world, but we are thinking that there is a great deal of connection, he had said in 1896 during a New York class. The world is the same unconnected thing as in Alice in Wonderland, with no connection whatever. Ralph loved Swamiji and served him personally whenever and however he could. He would shine his shoes, fetch his tobacco from upstairs, and do other little things that Swamiji had asked of him. Often they used to talk together, and Mrs. Hansborough remembered that once Swamiji asked Ralph, "Can you see your own eyes?" Ralph answered that he could not, except in a mirror. God is like that, Swamiji told him. He is as close as your own eyes. He is your own, even though you can't see him. If one were able to talk with Ralph today, he could no doubt tell much else that Swamiji had said to him. But the time for searching out those memories passed long ago, for Ralph Wyckoff was accidentally killed when he was 42. But while there were mornings when Swamiji was able to stroll leisurely in the garden or to talk with Dorothy and her friends, more often than not he held a 10 o'clock class in nearby Pasadena. On such occasions he would leave the house around 9 or 9:30, accompanied by Mrs. Hansborough. He would wear his loose black coat and black hat, and would carry in a suitcase his Gidua robe and turban, into which he would later change. As we have seen, he did not always wear his robe while lecturing, but apparently he sometimes did. Mrs. Hansborough tells us that when Mrs. Bowler, the president of the Shakespeare Club, first invited him to speak, she specifically requested that he wear his turban. Swamiji obliged. "Don't you understand?" he explained to Mrs. Hansborough, who had objected. "She wants the whole show." To get to the Shakespeare Club, where Swamiji held most of his morning classes, was a simple matter. A few steps from the house, he and Mrs. Hansborough, and perhaps also Mrs. Wyckoff, could board the electric train and travel to Pasadena, and thence up Fair Oaks Avenue, directly to the clubhouse, which in those days stood on the corner of Fair Oaks and Lincoln. It was a fairly short trip, and almost no walking was involved. Better known and more concrete is the story of how Mrs. Wyckoff once experienced relief from physical and mental suffering just through contact with an object that had belonged to Swamiji, his pipe. Sometime before Swamiji left South Pasadena, Mrs. Hanslow related, he said one day, "I always leave something behind wherever I go. I am going to leave this pipe when I go to San Francisco." He left it on the mantelpiece in the dining room, and we kept it there for a long time as an ornament. Then, one day, Mrs. Wyckoff picked it up. She had been suffering from some nervous ailment and had been having personal difficulties in her life. For some days, the pain of her illness had been almost unbearable, and this, added to her other troubles, made her feel extremely depressed. She went to the mantelpiece and picked up Swamiji's pipe. No sooner did she have it in her hand than she heard his voice saying, "Is it so hard, madam?" For some reason, she rubbed the pipe across her forehead, and instantly the suffering left her, and a feeling of well-being came over her. After that, we felt that the pipe should belong to her, and she still has it. Today, the pipe is in the possession of the Vedanta Society of Southern California.
Good. Now what about Khandana?
Yeah, we sing Khandana at the end.
Thank you.
But first, who do you want to speak here, Swami?
Yeah, Swami
Oh,
can
Swami,
speak.
Swami?
Swami Sumanasananda.
Sumanasananda, good. And then Swami will will speak, and then we'll sing Khandana together.
Yeah, so there are 2-3 people they can speak also.
What?
Rupisha is there, and Yanujivananda is there. They can speak little.
Okay. Well, Swami Vivekananda.
I think he said Srinivasa was first. You have to give me some time to think of something.
ॐ परतत्ते सदा लीनो रामकृष्ण समाद्य यो धर्मस्थापनरतो वीरेशं तं नमाम्यहम्. Puran salutations to Swami Vivekananda, who wanted to remain completely absorbed in the ecstatic experience of the Satchidananda and came down to our level to teach us what the right dharma is at the behest of his Guru Sri Ramakrishna. Salutations to that Swami Vivekananda. Revered Maharaj, dear brother monks and nuns and dear devotees, good afternoon and namaskar. It's a great privilege for all of us to be gathered here on this very particular day when we are celebrating our annual meeting day here to honor Swami Vivekananda. And just now we have heard from the Swami Vivekananda and the new discoveries is related to us and the details of this house. Swami Vivekananda's life inspired everyone, everywhere. Miss MacLeod said that I have seen many kings and queens. I am acquainted with them. And I saw Vivekananda also. But when I was with the emperors and queens and kings, I felt I am an ordinary person compared to them. So I felt a little bit awkward in their presence. But in presence of Vivekananda, I felt that I am also a free bird, a free soul. I did not have any hesitation. And who is that Vivekananda? If Vivekananda is present, everyone is second there. Be a queen, a king, an emperor, a Tsar, whoever it may be. So that was her expression and experience. So Swamiji's presence, as just we have seen, we are mixing with the small boys and girls at this playing with them, again making so many jokes and sometimes it may appear vulgar also. But still, mind is always in that supreme reality and forgetful, completely oblivious of his own body. In lecture, Swamiji, it happened that Swamiji could not go to the stage and standing in front of the mirror. So one lady was there and yes, that is the weakness. Swamiji is so handsome. So everyone has handsome weakness. The Swamiji also has weakness for his wonderful, handsome appearance. So yeah, Swamiji, now I thought you are standing there, you are seeing yourself again and again. No, I am not. Actually, I am going to the stage and I am getting completely forgetful. Where am I? What to speak? So if we do not have our body consciousness, we cannot speak on any topic. We cannot think of anything. So just to get him back in his body consciousness, you are standing in front of the mirror to be reminded that yes, he has got a body. So he was always, as in the beginning sutra I said, it is quoted that he was ever ready to remain absorbed in the samadhi mood, this bliss of the ultimate reality, Satchidananda. So for the good of the humanity, he came here, he is preached in India, he preached in America, wherever he in Europe, wherever he went, his key words were that try to express your divinity within, try to be good and do good to others. That is the whole of religion. Mukti, liberation, all big things, sadhana, this, that. Many people think, oh, I will do something overnight. It is not that. Take it very simply. Be pure, be loving, be compassionate, and behave, treat everyone in the same way. Good and divinity within you, good and divinity, purity in others. See within and see without. That is more or less his message was. And many places he said also that until and unless the world shall know that it is one with the divine, one with God, I shall not stop inspiring people. Even if I may throw away my body like a used garment. So it was really for all of us on this special day to be present here, spend some time, a little puja we enjoy, and then we have been sitting in the room which was sanctified by Swamiji's presence, and he was sleeping there, staying there for around 5 to 6 weeks, like that. So that is a holy place for all of us, and we are so blessed today to be present here. Thanks to all of you. Namaskar. May Swamiji bless us all so that we can always try for our all effort. In every, Swamiji said, let them express this divinity in every movement of life. So let us all, through Swamiji's grace and blessings, try to express our divinity within and see that divinity without in everyone. Namaskar to all of you. Thank you.
Now,
Who's next?
so,
So I was thinking of superheroes and all the movies we've had. Yeah. So what came to me is superheroes. We have all these movies these days about superheroes. And I think Swamiji is kind of a spiritual superhero. Because we got the hole-in-one on the golf course. You all remember that? He never picked up a golf club before. And then he picked up a golf club and they bet him he won $10.50. Hitting a hole-in-one on a golf course. Had he never played the game before. Shooting the eggshells, remember that one? A bunch of cowboys are shooting some eggshells. And Swamiji comes and they can't hit him. And Swamiji comes and kind of smiles at their efforts, and they challenged him. And he picked up the gun and shot every single one of them. And they said, where did you learn how to shoot? He said, he never shot a gun before. Complete mastery over his mind. He's a superhero. He's running from the monkeys, all these things he's done. And so, what is our favorite Swamiji hero story? I ask you all to think about this. Go over them in your mind. Try and figure out which one you like the best and why. My favorites. He's in the South. And he gets kicked off the train. Segregation at that time. He was called a nigger by the conductor of the train and told to get in the car for the colored people. He didn't say a word of protest. He got off the train, went in the back. And then he came back and told his devotees what happened. And they said, well, Swami, why didn't you tell them that you're not black? Why didn't you tell them you're from India? And he said, I did not come to this country to rise at the expense of another. I just thought that was so beautiful because there was no black person there to rise at whose expense he would rise. There was no one there. It was just him and a white conductor. But even in the abstract, he would not rise at the expense of another. Even if the person wasn't there, it was a principle that he was holding on to. And he put it into practice. And that, I think, is one of the greatest things. One of the things I'm most thankful for Swamiji is that he put these principles into practice. Mind control, universal identity with all, regardless of color and all, skin, everything, all these things. Swamiji put Vedanta into practice. And I think we're blessed that we get to come here to this place where he put Vedanta into practice for 6 weeks, 120 something years ago. Okay, that's all I got.
Who's next?
Well, I think this is my second time here celebrating coming to out in Pasadena. Basically, what comes to my mind is Swami Vivekananda's practicality, the way he was able to apply this very teaching to his own life, and he was able to give it away to others and share it with the whole world, and also his simplicity he carried in his life, as Swami Vivekananda was reading. He could interact to members of the family. We all know that he was a sannyasi, he was a monk, yet he was able to mingle with everybody and share his presence and his divinity. He was a Brahmajnani, he was no personality. That is something that it always caught my attention, He's a single man, yet a Brahmajnani. Very much. Very funny.
Swami, say a few words.
Yeah.
Get up and say hello.
This is Swami just arrived from India and to work with us in Southern California. Specifically, he will be working in Mexico. So just arrived. I don't know what is the jet lag. This is some Sarvasvaya. Sarvo, Asvaya, and Sarvasvaya.
The great contribution of Swami Vivekananda is for introducing the Vedanta to the West. As I said, Buddha was meant for the East and I am meant for the West. Buddha preached about the Buddhism spread throughout the east of the continent, and Swamiji spread about the Vedanta to the West. And he was the first person to introduce the Vedanta to the West. The greatest job is to come down to the level of the student, to make him rise to the teachings. That it is very, that is the difficult job of the teacher, and that is presented in a very simplified way. That is the greatest contribution of Swami Vivekananda to the West.
Vivekananda?
He's hiding in the corner.
Oh, Mahayogananda, yes, okay. Last but not least.
So Maharaj would be last to put the finishing touches. What moved me most about Swami, where shall I stand? I stand back here. What I love about Swami Vivekananda is that he always comes back to love. And if we look at his life, and particularly his letters, we find them overflowing with tremendous love for people like you and me. He had so many close friends and disciples, yes, but also friends, and like his American sisters, Mary Hale, and the other Hale sisters, and in fact, I'll give a quote that I love that he wrote in one of his letters to Mary Hale. He would write these very chatty letters to Mary Hale, just like a brother to a younger sister, and then he'd slip in this deep philosophy in between, and then go on with his chit chat. And so he goes, and see if I can remember it properly. The infinite, the eternal, the omnipresent, the omniscient is a principle, not a person. You and I and everyone are but embodiments of that principle. And the more of this infinite principle is embodied in a person, the greater is he or she. And all in the end will be the perfect embodiments of that. And thus all will be one, as they are now essentially. This is all there is of religion. And the practice is through the feeling of oneness, that is love. So he boils Vedanta down to this idea, the absolute reality, Brahman is a principle. We are all embodiments of that. We are all trying to manifest it. The more we can manifest that principle, the greater we are. And what's the practice? That's all there is of religion, in philosophy. But what's the practice? The feeling of oneness that is love. And as Arupeshananji was saying, he put that into practice. How he loved everyone, how he loved... That's my thoughts on Vivekananda. Thank you.
Vedanta, a few words? I've already spoken. Okay, Vedananda's.
One thing that strikes me that I think hasn't been mentioned yet, that Swamiji was an avant-garde feminist, a feminist before his time. Incredible. The most radical thing he did was just to treat them like equals, intuitively, naturally, without even thinking about it, without having to reason about it. But he just saw them as equals. He would call them sister, he would call them mother, play with them, joke with them. It was a striking incident when he was walking through the woods with some lady friends, and there was a small brook that needed to be crossed. Typically what you should do, what the man should do is hold the woman's hand and gently take them across, and he just skipped over the brook, ignoring them. And then the lady said, well, that's not very chivalrous, Swami. And he said, don't you see that behind chivalry is just naked lust? He's always keeping their minds in a very high tone. He always treated them like equals. And there are many other incidents. There's a very beautiful one when he's walking through the streets of Cairo at night. And there are some street ladies come across the street heckling at him. And he just looks at them. His eyes full of compassion, full of love. And he starts weeping. And then he becomes completely flustered and embarrassed, and they pranam, just instinctively do pranams to him and kiss the hem of his robe and say, Hombre de Dios, Hombre de Dios.
Wow, that's good.
So anyway, it was
Man of God. Man of God.
What about Dhyana Yogananda?
Only Swami should say.
Practically they are simplicity.
Swami, would you say something? You always miss. You can say if you want.
Nothing to say. I feel blessed to be the caretaker of Swami House.
Greatest accomplishment.
Okay, Swami, please say something.
So, this is the day we come every year to celebrate and remember Swami Vivekananda, especially in this auspicious place. That is a place for pilgrimage, as we have been taught before. Why the place of pilgrimage? Because the holy people, where they go, they keep some special vibration. And this is the place, still that table is there, which Swami Vivekananda used that table. The same room, same, nothing has been changed. The same vibration can be felt here. And the living God, living Christ, was moving here. Here and there, the dust of this ground is cast by him. And this is the place where Swami Vivekananda offered many of the beautiful talks and lectures in Shakespeare Club and Venture Hall and many other areas. So it's a great opportunity to come over here and to feel that vibration. Mainly we have talked about some of the multifarious talents and exceptional talents. Some of the Sriram was high, always talking about the glory of Swami Vivekananda, and he will be overwhelmed. The name is, hearing the name of Naren, he will be overwhelmed. He will go in ecstasy. And that because, not because he is a young man, bright, brilliant man, but he said, I look at you as Narayan, the Lord himself. And he said that 18 exceptional qualities are there with Vivekananda, which only one quality makes Brahma Samaj leader Bishop Sen so famous in the world. But Vivekananda has 18 such characters and qualities. So we cannot fathom the depth of as much as we go into his life, we read his life, then we get transformed ourselves. Or should have been fire. That's why Swami Vivekananda's letters, even if we read the letters, we find what is fire is there. He said, who will read this letter will get my inspiration, my energy will go through. So it is a great channel for the development and purification of the whole world. Sri Ramakrishna came and he got Swami Vivekananda. So this is a blessed occasion to inspire us to read more of Swami Vivekananda. Swami's words are so powerful that every simple word can lift us. Swami Vivekananda said, say simple one word. I remember I was in 1963 when the centenary of Vivekananda was going on in Belur, and in the Belur temple there are all the what we call the beaches. There they put on Swami's picture and some special few 1-line, 2-line messages. And then he said, I read first time, that still rings in my heart. Shraddhavan ho, Virjavan ho, Atmogyan lav karo, আর পরো থেকে জীবন পাঠ কর, এই আমার ইচ্ছা বাসি। This is my wish and my blessings that
respect for Buddhism.
Shraddhavan. Have faith and trust on yourself. Key point of our all development. Everyone is developed. Swami has talked about Shraddha much more. Shraddha is not only trust or faith, but both together. Intense faith in yourself. Faith, Shraddhavan. Virjavan, with man of power or woman of power and energy. Virjavan. Atmogyan Lakho. Attain the glory of the Atman, self, attain to the self-knowledge. And dedicate, not like a selfish person sitting in some corner. Parodhita for the good of others. Atmogyan for the everyone's life which is dedicated and given to the good of others. So that's the key point. And that inspired me very much from that day. So Swami, I just quoted one line, one word. You can my ideal when we preach to key words, that is to preach unto mankind, then you will believe. the divinity. So simply, what is religion? Religion is realization. Religion is not talk, not intellectual. So see, core point, one word, even. That's why if you have no time to read much book, and a small, very tiny $1, $2 books are available. It should be kept in the pocket. And can just one day, one such 2-3 lines can be read, and that we can get enlightenment. And I request you all to come over here. We used to have every month some satsang. Yeah, we used to read some Vivekananda letters and other things. But COVID is coming. So I was thinking that we can restart it if many of you are interested in it. So once a month, coming over here, and Sunday talk. What time? 2 o'clock to read. But anyhow, this is a thought that we restart. But major thing is that we get the inspiration, we get the vibration, we feel that there is a potential spiritual energy which is there, that will calm our mind and inspire us to get our life for all, for the good of others. So I pray the blessings of Swami Vivekananda so that we can be inspired in his life and can make our life better. There are two nuns and they are sitting. Jayapana, will you say some words? Will you say something about this? What would you?
Mantri Prana.
You can say some. And Jayapana, prepare. You have to say 2 minutes something about Vivekananda. You want to say something about Vivekananda? Okay.
I came here for the retreat, monthly retreat. Actually, how many years before COVID? Almost 3 years. Every month, I had a best opportunity to be here at the retreat. So what happened? I think through those activities, I feel I will get to get many aspects of me. So I am very grateful to Swami Vivekananda, who is a teacher of us, all of us. Really, he is guiding still. That is my tangible feeling to him, to Swami Vivekananda. He is a real teacher still now, and really he is guiding us. That is a real my faith. Really, I think that's it.
So Swamiji is a magic. Swamiji wanted to give up his body. He picked 4th of July. 4th of July is the day we see all fireworks. And fireworks in Bengali, you can say, is a baji. Baji means fireworks, and also baji means magic. So Sri Ramakrishna said like that, magician is real, magic is not. But in case of Swamiji, is such a magician. He is, as a magician, is real, and as a magic also, he is real, in either way. So his love, what Madhavananda ji said, his superheroism, what Aurukeshwara ji said, and all these Swamis pointed out, all these were that what we perceive, but at the same time that ancient, eternal, universal, the principle of Vivekananda also underlying truth forever. So it's 4th of July, it's the celebration, and in celebration is the magic of Vivekananda.